back to Glitter Budget with your hosts, Anjanette.
And Jess?
And in today's episode, we're starting our Christmas movies.
Yeah.
And we're starting with the much debated Christmas, probably not Christmas movie, Die Hard.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfuckers!
Oh, yeah.
It's not a Christmas movie.
I think it kind of is.
I just think it's hilarious that,
Why the debate started?
why the debate started, that people just insist that it is a Christmas movie. So it's just become an unofficial Christmas movie, and I think it's hilarious, and it's also a fantastic movie.
It's very good. Very good. So, movie came out in 1988. I came out in 1988 as well. Me.
Wow.
Sorry. Anyway, movie is directed by John McTiernan. The movie is based off of a book called Nothing Lasts Forever.
Yeah.
Which was written by Roderick Thorpe. And then the screenplay was written by Jeb Stewart and Stephen E. D'Souza. So, I guess we'll go over stars first and then trivia, right?
Yeah.
Starring Bruce Willis as John McClane, goes without saying. Bonnie Bedelia as Holly Gennaro McClane. Reginald Vell Johnson as Sergeant Powell. Paul Gleason as Dwayne T. Robinson. Paul Gleason looks the exact same as in this movie as he does in The Breakfast Club. Like, I don't even think he changed clothes.
Probably not.
Sorry. Deborah White as Argyle, one of my favorite characters. William Atherton, also, he was in Ghostbusters as Pecker.
Yeah. He was just, cast as, like, the asshole.
Yep, pretty much. And lest we forget the late Alan Rickman
Yes.
as Hans Gruber.
So, I mean, like they say, like, it's really not Christmas until you see Hans Gruber.
Fall from the Nakatomi building.
It was for Alan Rickman's first movie.
Yes. He had only done stage and British television before this.
Oh.
So he'd been in Hollywood a week. He's like, nah, I don't think I want to do an action film. And his agents are like, fucking do it, man. So he did it.
Yeah. And, I mean, obviously not the first movie that Bruce Willis had starred in or been in, but first action movie.
Yeah, because he, during this, like, at the same time, he was doing the show Moonlighting, which is like, it's a comedy series with him and Sybil Shepherd.
Mm-hmm.
So, scheduling, they were like, kind of like a very tight schedule. Like, Bruce Willis almost didn't get to do it because of Moonlighting, because of the scheduling, but Sybil Shepherd ended up getting pregnant. So they had to stop filming Moonlighting for a while, for about like 11 months, and or 11 weeks or something like that. I think it was weeks. Just enough time for him to go run around the Nakatomi building.
And he was also the highest paid actor around that time for, like, I don't know if it was just in general or for that genre, because, they were trying to, like, his manager was trying to get him cast in something. They were just like, yeah, he's like, do you want to do it? I don't know. He's like, $5 million. $5 million.
Mm-hmm.
And they were just like, well, all right, fine.
And he's like, sweet.
They're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
They fell for that? All right, cool. I know, like, originally, the book, it's, like, John McClane's character is pretty old. It's like 60s, right?
I don't know the age. I know that, well, I guess the original, this book, Nothing Lasts Forever, is like the basis, like we said. It's kind of sort of a sequel to the movie The Detective starring Frank Sinatra.
Yeah.
So
Who owned the rights to it, right? Because I know they had to, like, they were legally obligated to offer Frank Sinatra the leading role.
I don't think he owned it, no.
I just, for, like,
But they were contractually obligated to offer him the role first, I think, because he was in
Gotcha.
the quote prequel or whatever.
Right.
But at this point, Frank Sinatra was like about 70, and luckily he turned down the role. But the book is very different. So let me just read like a little synopsis of this. So it's a sequel to the book and film The Detective. where Frank Sinatra played Joe Leland, who is actually supposed to be John McClane. Surprisingly, few of the book's details are changed. Originally a much older Leland, changed to McClane, was visiting his daughter Steffi Leland Gennaro, who worked for the Claxon Oil Company. Takagi was originally a VP of sales named Rivers. Harry Ellis, Al Powell, and Dwayne Robinson were essentially the same, but the FBI was not involved. Hans Gruber was originally Anton Little Tony Gruber, while Hans was the name of Karl's brother. The purpose of the terrorist takeover was to allow the West German radical group to uncover an illegal arms shipment Claxon was making to a Chilean dictatorship. Finally, in the end scene, which was Christmas morning at 10 a.m., Anton Gruber is shot by Leland and falls out of the window, also catching a finger on Gennaro's watch, but in this case, he pulls her out of the window to her death.
Oh.
So, like, in the book, um, John McClane or Joe Leland ends up getting, like, crippled, I think, by the end of it. And it's over the course of, like, 3 days.
Oh, okay. It's not just like one night.
Yeah, so he's not visiting his estranged wife, he's visiting his daughter. His daughter ends up dying.
Yeah. So it was, so the first writer was John,
Hold on one second.
or with an S. Sorry.
Jeb Stewart.
Jeb Stewart. John. Wow. Anyways, I got the initials right.
You did. I think you were thinking of John McClane.
It he was originally had written like the first screenplay, and I guess he was saying like the night he started to like write it, he got into an argument with his wife, like pretty bad. Left, was like driving. It was just like, oh shit, like she was right. You know, this I need to like go back home. And he was like, I was just so in my head that I wasn't paying attention. The people in front of me on the highway were like abruptly swerving. He's like, so by the time like the car in front of me swerved, there was this huge box that just said fridge in the highway, not knowing if there was an actual fridge in it or not. And he's like, and I had no choice but to just plow through it,
Yeah.
thinking like, well, this is it. And luckily the box was empty. But he was just like, you know, I know what this movie is about. It's about a guy who should have just made up with his wife and listened to her, and none of this would have happened.
Yeah, I think I was reading that little tidbit, and it was just like, it made it easier for him to write, because he was kind of like losing sight of like how to write it, I guess.
Yeah.
And it was just like, okay, that gives them motivation to try to get back to each other. It's like we left
on bad terms.
Yeah.
Like, let's just talk this out. But, you know, that poor guy, like, they were writing the screenplay while they were filming. Because they wanted so many changes. Just like, well, there should be like a little bit more comedy in it, and it shouldn't be technically terrorists. It should be more like robbers. And so he ended up, despite the fact that this was like his baby, getting booted, and somebody else like finished the script.
Yeah. Shit happens.
Yeah, I thought it was hilarious. So like how funny, but then at the same time like how stressful that would be to be filming and like, all right, are we scheduled for tomorrow? Like, do we have enough material written to keep filming tomorrow?
All right. Like, so, but it was kind of funny. Like, a lot of last minute changes. Like, I don't think they were trying to come up with, they wanted Hans Gruber and John McClane to meet before the actual climax of the movie. And when they found out that Alan Rickman could do an American accent, they were like, ah. So that whole scene with them meeting was unrehearsed, which is why it's like, it kind of shows there's like a lot of trepidation on both sides and everything like that. But like, it was kind of cool. And he actually, jumping down, Alan Rickman hurt himself.
Oh,
like ended up tearing cartilage in his knee and had to have a brace on his knee. So like during that whole scene, he's like leaning up against a wall. He's only on one leg, and he's got a brace under his pant leg on the bad knee. So like,
I feel like there was a lot of like mishaps during that movie. Like there was a lot of mishaps, and there was a lot of, like you said, like because they're writing as they're filming. It was like that was one of the things. Like, well, they need like, how do we get them to meet before the actual climax? Because it kind of needs to happen. Otherwise,
yeah.
I mean, it's still, I guess, kind of like a big climax, but doesn't have the same effect. And then, how do they get out? Like the terrorist robbers, whatever you want to call them. How do they get out? And then how do we get John McClane off the roof that needs to blow up? Because that was like the one thing that had to happen, which is like this building needs to blow up.
Yeah.
So I guess like their idea to get them out of the building and kind of get away was just to already having an ambulance in like the moving car or moving truck that they
Yeah.
had come in, but because they had already filmed them coming in and coming out of it, and they're like, oh, they'll just come out of like in a different vehicle at the end, and they were like doing a run through, and they were like, fuck. In the beginning, you can't see it in the background, like they're all just walking out of the truck.
Yeah.
And the director went, I don't fucking care. People actually notice. Like, no one's gonna notice by the end of it after everything that's happened of just like, wait a minute. Was there an ambulance in that truck in the beginning? I don't remember
There
seeing
was
one.
not.
Yeah, no. Honestly, I don't know if I would have noticed or cared.
Thinking about it now, like I'm like, yeah, it was just a van. And the other thing, it's kind of a silly thing, but I think they wanted to in the beginning of the movie, John McClane's coming into the Nakatomi building, and there's a security guard in the lobby in the entrance, and John McClane asks him, "Is Holly McClane here?" And he's like, "Use the touchpad." So, and he uses the touchpad, finds out that she's under her maiden name, Holly Gennaro,
Ooh.
and he's like, "Okay, well." And then the security guard's like, "Oh, well, everyone's up on the 30th floor." Like he could have saved that whole it was not needed, that whole fucking thing where him using that touchpad, because like I'm pretty sure that he sees her maiden name on her office door later
Okay.
and knows that she's going by her maiden name.
Right.
But I think it was just one way to get that whole thing. But it was just dumb. It was like that security guard's like, well, everyone that's in the building is up on the 30th floor. He could have just been like, well, if she's here, she's up on the 30th floor. Like
Right.
that's where literally everyone in the building is.
Yeah,
I
which
think
was probably almost partially no, because so the Nakatomi building that they used was actually owned by Fox Studios. It was a newer.
it's the
20th century.
headquarters of 20th Century Fox.
Yeah. But they hadn't finished the building though.
Yeah.
So they were just like, because they kept doing like location scouts and stuff to figure out like where could we film it, this, that, and third. And they were like, oh, that one.
They charge themselves rent.
That's dumb.
It is.
What?
So it says like the company charged itself rent for the use of the then unfinished building.
Had to be some sort of like tax reasons to do that.
Oh, definitely, for sure.
Yeah, I want to say like that was at the lobby, and then the very top floor wasn't finished.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like everything in between, which is lawyers and executives and stuff. So I guess like they started to get really pissy anytime they were doing action sequences. And they're like, could you just wait to do like gunshots and stuff till after 5 p.m.? That'd be great. Thanks.
That's when Mama clocks out for the day, and that's when you can start your shit back up.
Yeah. But I guess they had like like a lot. I wouldn't say a lot, but a few issues like that. 'Cause there were some issues with that of just like, hey, like we're trying to make this company money and keep it running. I'm fucking working. I don't need to hear goddamn gunshots throughout the day.
Yeah.
And then at the end, it was supposed to be the explosion on the top of the building, but also helicopters coming through, which they wanted to do for realsies. And the LAPD was like, yo, this is really fucking dangerous.
I don't think you should be doing that.
So they had like under 2 hours to get the whole take of like the two helicopters coming because they're like really low.
Yeah.
And then to like try to go up to the top of the building. So they were just like, we basically had like a whopping 2 hours to try to get this done. I think it was like a half an hour of filming. They were able to squeeze it in. They were like, all right, good. Okay, now let's do like a really big model to blow up the top
Mm-hmm.
and a helicopter, like a fake one.
Yeah.
So, and I guess like when the special effects people were doing it, they were like, this looks awful. Like, this is terrible. And they sent it over, and the director called was like, this is fucking amazing. You can't even tell it's a fake helicopter. This is brilliant. Okay.
Yeah.
As long
Looks
as you
good.
like it.
We worked really hard on it. It's great. Thank you, sir. But I also found it funny, the scene where Hans Gruber is being held off the edge of the building.
Oh, yeah.
There were a lot of scenes where they actually used Alan Rickman's like real reactions, or they had to cut out some of his real reactions. So his look of surprise of falling off the building is genuine because the stunt person that's holding him said, "I'm going to drop you on 3," but really dropped him on 2.
Not even. I think you just let him. It's like, all right, on 3, right? Okay.
Yeah. So he was just
Like right
like,
now.
just let it, he's just like, "Holy shit." And what's his name? Ellis, the guy who was snorting coke.
What?
He's like an obnoxious guy that works with uh Holly McLean.
Oh, like all right. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Um he's like a really obnoxious guy, and he's just like, I'm a business person that I do these kind of things like all the time, blah
Oh,
blah
like
blah.
negotiations and
Yeah.
yeah,
So
tool.
he's saying to Hans Gruber, he's like, "Hans, Bubby." Like that was an ad-libbed line. So Alan Rickman's like he's scared. He's like, "What?"
What?
But that was like genuine because it was not in the script. He was just
This is one of those things. Like honestly, after, I mean, obviously, like the movie ended up doing like very well.
Mhm.
But after that experience of being dropped at like 40 some feet in the air into like the bag and tearing knee cartilage and then doing these crazy like ad libs or like not being told what's going on. I'm surprised Alan Rickman wasn't like, fuck this,
Fuck
going
American
back home.
movies. Fuck Hollywood. Um, but yeah, he had a very successful film career after that, obviously.
Yeah.
Um,
I feel like it made his career and probably Bruce Willis's career. And it was funny because, like, as I was rewatching, I mean, I've obviously seen the movie a couple times, so I can't remember how old I was the first time I watched it. Obviously, I didn't watch it when I was like barely 2 years old.
yeah.
Um, I can't. I don't remember. I just remember always loving the movie, and just any time it's on, like you have to watch it. It's gold.
It took me a long time. I think I've only watched it twice.
Oh,
So the first time being sometime in the last decade. And then the second time being last night.
yeah.
But there are so many iconic lines, scenarios, whatever. Like you hear about Hans Gruber all the time,
Yeah.
or Yippee Ki motherfucker, or
Coming to
Yippee
California.
Ki melon farmer if it's
That's
in the dubbed version, the edited for TV version. That's what they say, which I think is hilarious. But people would make Christmas ornaments out of John McClane being in like the air vent
oh
with the
yeah.
lighter.
I want that so bad. Let's go to
So like
California, have a few laughs.
yeah,
Yeah.
and like it's just so iconic. Bringing Steve, when we were watching it, there's the line where like, bring in the car. He was laughing hysterically because there's a podcast that he listens to where they use little sound clips, and there's a I guess a player, foosball, a sports ball player
Yeah.
whose last name is Carr,
Oh,
and they would hit that button and it would say, "Bring in the car," and they
that was his segment. It's time to
yes,
yeah.
yes,
That was actually pretty funny. I know like this it like kind of changed the format and stuff like that for action movies.
mhm,
So as we were saying, like just the whole like hostage situation, kind of one guy, going in there and the type of explosions they use and action sequences are like you can basically trace it all back to Die Hard, the way it was
yeah,
filmed, and it just changed like the action hero persona. Because before that, you had like Arnie, who was just disgustingly jacked,
yep,
to Bruce Willis, and I guess that was one of the things they were having a hard time selling too when they started to like air the previews
yeah,
leading out to it. Is that he'd been known for romantic comedies and just being like kind of a funny guy.
yeah,
That people were like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
yeah. So they had to take him out of the promo photos for it until he garnered like enough respect as an action star, and then just had they were just regular Bruce Willis fans in general. Then they put him back in. But yeah, it was it's interesting because he's not that super cop kind of persona. He's just like that everyday guy that was just like he didn't want to be there, but he's doing the best he can in a bad situation.
Yep. Which is what I think like people inevitably ended up like liking about him, and I thought it was funny too. I guess for us, like you and I grew up with action star Bruce Willis.
Yes.
Like I don't think of him as anything else. Like I think of him as Die Hard Bruce Willis and the umpteenth Die Hard movies they made after that, and Fifth Element Bruce Willis, and
Yes.
like I don't really think of him as not an action star.
Yeah. And then they like pretty much solidified it when they did that Expendables movie with all of the top
Yeah.
like action stars. So that one did have Arnold Schwarzenegger, it had Sylvester Stallone, um, Dolph Lundgren, Bruce Willis, other people that I can't remember. But yeah, like it had like all of the big name
Yeah.
action
I
stars.
feel like even like when he was in the whole 9 yards,
I loved that
it was a
movie.
great movie. But technically, like, it's not really like an action per se. But he still plays a hitman, like a retired hitman,
And it's believable too. Like
right?
I would definitely be afeared of him.
Yeah.
hmm hmm But that was a good movie. That one's funny.
Good stuff. Oh, Red
Did not watch that one.
is good.
Ah,
Though I can't remember the actress who plays in it, and I just cannot stand her face. But other than that, it's
can't
good.
stand her face.
No, dude, the amount of like plastic surgery that woman's had, it was not good. Like she legit, when she smiles, looks like Jack Nicholson's Joker. Yeah.
Who is this?
I don't remember the name of her. I don't remember the actress's name, but I'm sorry. Just
Because you're gonna have to
stop.
figure out who that is.
We'll look it up later. But yeah, Red was really good. But again, like all just action movie. Like I don't obviously, but like all the action movies that he's done, though, always has that comedy in like written into it though too.
Mhm.
So you can kind of see like his comedy background always kind of plays through a little bit.
Yeah, I think it helps. Just regular, not normal. I'm only gonna watch. I only like action film. Like it helps those who aren't those kind of people
Oh yeah,
like
yeah.
the movie because it's just a lot of funny, random shit. It
Very
makes
sort
it relatable, I would think.
yeah.
So it's not just all like explosions and gunshots and everything like that. But Alan Rickman, the poor guy, like he would flinch every time a gunshot would go off. So like they could never show him like I his face when a gunshot would go off because he would just be flinching the whole time, and like you can kind of catch him flinching when he's shooting Mr. Takagi.
Oh. I guess they were saying like when they were first like rehearsing some things, like he had to be shown how to properly hold a gun.
Yeah.
So it's just like limp wrist.
Mhm.
They were like, just no. Stiffen it up.
Yeah. None of that shit. You're gonna shoot some toes off if you do that.
I mean, that kind of makes sense though. When you have somebody who just mainly does theater,
Yeah.
you're not. It's just
Y-
not something that your forte.
Yeah,
It's
you
not
don't.
something you're used to.
They don't give you real guns in the theater.
Not since Lincoln. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I couldn't help it. It's terrible.
Oh my
It's
god,
absolutely terrible. I'm sorry.
that's hilarious. That's hilarious. Oh my god. Well, I don't even know if we can finish the episode after that. Oh my god, that's so good.
Oh, now I'm warm. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. I just sometimes I get some good zingers, and I just couldn't keep it to myself.
Ah, she won't make another one for another.
5 years.
Yep. She's good for every 5 years or so, and then she's got to cool off and think about another one.
Yep.
That was good. Walked right into that one.
Yep. Oh, man.
Uh,
Good shit. Good shit.
but yeah, so you can learn a lot of things from the theater, but shooting a real gun is not one of them.
I know, like, Alan Rickman. I know he was scared of always being typecasted after that movie,
Yeah.
but I think he had a nice like variety of characters that he's played over the years.
Oh yeah. I mean, like, I love him in Dogma.
Oh,
I am
Golden.
the Metatron.
I
And
love how like he tried to introduce himself like so serious and then just got over it like real quick. She's just like, "Don't rape me." He's like, "Oh my god, I'm serious."
you'd also know him from Harry Potter if you watched any of those movies.
I am very much aware of his role in Harry Potter just because I have not seen them.
Still doesn't help. You gotta watch it. You gotta see it.
They're so bad though.
How do you know that they're bad?
I watched the first one.
Not having actually read the book though.
That which doesn't help. Like now that I'm reading the book and it's better than the movie, that's not helping the situation at all.
I know, but you gotta.
What?
I agree with you. The movies are not great, especially if you have not read the books. The storytelling in them is not great, and then the books help immensely. But if you have not read the books, the movies are not. That's not the point of this episode.
Nope.
It's about Die Hard.
Yep.
And
So have you seen any of the other Die Hard movies? Because they made like 5.
no,
The only other one that I've seen, which I don't remember if it was the second one, Die Hard with a Vengeance, or if it was I don't know one of the different ones.
isn't
was
that Die Harder?
Yeah, it was Die Hard with a Vengeance, Die Hard. Like it's the names he started to come up with were ridiculous.
Live Free Die Hard. I like that one.
That one's alright.
Well, I like the title of it. I
Yeah.
haven't seen it.
The only other one I've seen was the one with Samuel L. Jackson in it.
What's that? Which one's that one?
As I'm saying, I don't remember in the timeline where that is.
Yeah, I don't know. But
Yeah, they rode that success, like the success off that first movie pretty fucking hard.
why not?
Yeah, might as well.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I like the scene where McClane is in the elevator shaft and he has to like jump down. The stunt person was actually supposed to get the vent that he was aiming for,
Right.
but actually falls and gets the next one down. So that's the shot that they kept.
Yeah.
But they were like, "God damn it! You're supposed to get the other one."
Well, actually, I think the first take, he fell all the way. Like, there was a mat at the bottom. He fell all the way down.
Oh.
And he fell all the way down. They were just like, no, wait. But the first fall was great. Now just go back and catch him, like, actually catching the vent.
Yeah.
And, like, we can use it and work it in. So, yeah, the poor guy, like, he went all the way down.
He did, but he got the next vent down.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, I feel like, again, because they were on such, like, time constraints and budget restraints, they were just like, we gotta take what we can get.
Yeah.
Can we work with this? A lot of, because they were still, like, doing construction on the building, on, like, the floors that they were working on, a lot of stuff that you see, like office chairs, the dolly, stuff like that, was just already there. So they were just like, cool. Again, saving some money on the budget. Like, let's just work this stuff into the film. This is great.
Yeah. I think like they should definitely give more props to stunt people,
Oh, yeah.
especially in action films like this, where they're just like throwing them through walls and glass and throwing them down elevator shafts. Like, it just like I feel like they don't get enough.
They really don't. They do not get enough credit at all.
Uh,
Mm.
but anyway, what do you guys think? Do you consider this movie a Christmas movie or a movie that like an action movie that happens to fall around Christmas?
Right.
Because it doesn't actually like have. It didn't come out around Christmas of that year. It came out in like midsummer, I think, of '88.
Sounds about right.
And there's no. What other main staples are there? Because it is around Christmas. There is kind of like a good versus evil.
Where's a Christmas party?
There is a Christmas party. There is a romance reuniting kind of situation going on.
I think they play some Christmas music at the end.
They do.
Yeah.
Um.
Christmas decorations, obviously, for the Christmas party.
Yes.
I'm stretching here.
I thought. So like this is kind of related to what we were just talking about, but like some of the other like supporting characters actually got bigger roles because of how exhausted Bruce Willis was
Yeah.
because of his scheduling. So Argyle, the limo driver, ended up getting a much bigger role. Powell,
Yeah.
the officer Powell, Sergeant Powell, ended up getting a bigger role, and a lot of the other just supporting characters because Bruce Willis is like, dude, I'm fucking tired. I'm tired. Going back and forth between like moonlighting and this and everything. It
I
was
can't
just
imagine.
I'd die. But I liked Argyle. The best limo driver ever.
Right? Actually, so like towards the end when he was knocking out somebody, I don't know if it was like the ambulance driver or what. I think it was.
Yeah.
They were like kept doing the scene over and over again. They're like, dude, like it's not really that believable. Like just really just hit him. And I
Yeah.
was like, no, what really? And they're like, yeah, just sock him. He's like, that hurt. Very painful. He was just like, when I like, doing one of these with my hands, it's because it was real. It's like I felt really bad.
Yeah. I thought that was fun. And like not a lot of people when you think of like real life situations, there are not a lot of people that would do what he did.
No. Good God, no.
Like he ran his vehicle into another one and then went and punched the guy out. I think a lot of people would just turn tail and run.
Probably.
So that's why I say Argyle MVP. Well, runner up maybe MVP from John McClane. And Sergeant Powell did a lot too.
Yeah.
But he's like the hidden gem MVP. And then when they're driving off into the sunset or whatever, I think that's when you can see, I don't know if it's in that part of the movie or another part, you can see where gas was 74 cents a gallon.
The fuck.
My times, they have changed.
A little bit. A little bit.
Ay, ay, ay.
But yeah, let us know. Christmas movie, not Christmas movie. And just let us know what you feel of the film altogether.
Yes, you can stream it on HBO. And that is
Fuckers.
it. Unless you have one at like the Blu-ray, DVD, anniversary
Yeah.
editions, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, so all of our social medias linked in the description box down below. If you like our vibe, please like and subscribe. And we're going to be discussing the Santa Claus
Mm-hmm.
in our next episode. So we'll see you then. Bye.